Boy, oh boy, do we have a doozy today. CrapGamer is doing what CrapGamer does best, talking about how bad Sony is because insert reason here. Okay, so the Callisto Protocol just released this week, and Digital Foundry has uploaded their video analysis on the game. As it turns out, between the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC versions of the game, it is the PlayStation 5 version that seems to perform best. What does this mean for Crap, though? Well, clearly it's Sony was at fault. Sending in people to sabotage the Xbox and PC version, right? While it's true, though, that Sony did offer help to the developer, Striking Distance, to give them access to their motion capture studio, as well as help with animation and cinematics, any programming of the game itself was handled purely by Striking Distance. But this hasn't stopped CrapGamer from assuming that Sony was solely responsible for the poor performance on Xbox, which he still claims is far superior to the PS5. Though, let's be honest, the Xbox has been having to fight its way to hold its own against the PlayStation 5 in most games anyway. Any games that do have an advantage on the Xbox only do so, really, by a very small margin. In any case, Crap has sure been busy on both Twitter and YouTube. So let's take a quick look at his video on the subject, shall we?
You know, it's another big game release the Callisto Protocol has released, and Digital Foundry and, all the other places are doing their little deals where they talk about performance and things like that. Now, for a little bit of kind of, recognition, the Callisto Protocol was made by a team that had 150 Sony developers help them out, right? Like Sony lent them.
To be clear, Crap, it was the PlayStation motion capture studio space being rented by the developers at the time.
150 developers, they lent them space to do motion capture and things like that. So when you see that this game runs best on PlayStation 5 over a PC and over an Xbox Series X, you maybe start to question it just a little bit.
Crap, the motion capture studio is not responsible for making a game run good. Their only priority is making sure animation, cinematics all look good. The actual optimization of the game, that's all handled by the devs, not by Sony.
Now, obviously, I'm not really big on there being such a thing as coincidences, right? Like, this stuff is happening. Clearly, they're going to know how to work on a PS5 kit more so than an Xbox or even PC.
Yes, Crap. I'm sure that Sony, who by the way also releases some of their games on PC, would have no way of knowing how to port a game to a PC. Ugh. Never mind the fact that it wasn't Sony that was working on that part of the game anyway.
So, you go, okay, well, how do you kind of fix that? It's obviously the case here. So
obvious how, Crap? All we know is that the game is slightly laggy on Xbox and stutters on PC. If you take a close look, even the PS5 has some drops from time to time.
So you have much more powerful systems, yet the PS5 comes out looking much better. Like, I find that to be hilarious. I want to get into it, though, because this is something that's a very hot topic on Twitter today, and, I'm into it.
Crap, you jump into anything and everything that looks like it'll fit a conspiracy theory you want to push onto other people. Especially if it's anti-Sony.
Because it's just one of those things where you kind of question some of this thing. I'm not, listen, with how Microsoft and Sony go back and forth, I don't doubt anything these days. So let's get into it. So according to this, the Callisto Protocol, the versions on Xbox and PC is almost unplayable.
I don't know what you mean by unplayable. They seem pretty playable to me. There's just some stuttering on the PC version and some slight slowdowns in frame rates on the Xbox. That's hardly unplayable, Crap.
Yeah, so it says they already covered the PS5 version of the Callisto Protocol in their tech review, and some major issues on PC and Xbox of the game. The pre-release code meant that they want to cover these platforms separately. They start with PC, where Alex Battaglia has been tested.
You could show a little bit of respect and at least pronounce his name properly. It's Alex Battaglia. Please, Crap. For all our sakes, at least try to pronounce somebody's name right.
in the game. Sadly, there's no good news in the game's disastrous state of launch. First up, this is yet another Unreal Engine 4 title that doesn't pre-compile its shaders, meaning that the first appearance of new models
and effects is accompanied by a hefty stutter. So the game's stuttering all over the place, with even longer hitches on weaker systems. And what's happening here is that the shader code is compiled as it's needed, resulting in continual freeze frame hitching every time you encounter a new effect that requires a new shader. Shader compilation stutter is a massive problem with the game, ruining the sense of immersive dread that the game is trying to create. And the only solve by playing through the whole game, so the second playthrough is stutter free, where your shader butler when you need them. Haha. Anyway, the issue could be solved by having the game pre-compile shaders on boot, and even though that would delay the action and require redoing each time the game or GPU delivers an update, it would at least ensure a smooth experience once in game. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting there. The game also appears severely limited by single-core CPU speed.
This is actually something new to me, Crap, because as far as I'm aware, every console currently out today, PCs included, all use multi-core CPUs. So I'm not sure why a game would be limited to one CPU when the PlayStation 5 has more than one CPU. Do you see where this line of logic is taking you, Crap?
The most available processor threads sitting near idle, even while GPU utilization remains low, making it hard to achieve good performance even on high-end machines. So these machines are much higher end than PS5.
You know, Crap, at this point I find it laughable that you who have used the PS5 would say that the PS5 is much lower end than an Xbox. Especially since, you know, the games that we've seen come out for the PlayStation 5 have far exceeded anything that has come out for the Xbox. Just saying, buddy.
Or whatever, but at the same time, we're kind of seeing this issue where it doesn't matter because, you know, these games are just running like crap on anything that's not called PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? Not as severe as the PC, Xbox Series consoles have problems too. The Series X version of the game should be a great way to play alongside the generally flawless PS5 version, but right now it's unfortunately not the case. Like PS5, the Series X offers a choice of quality or performance modes, but the Xbox version in quality mode is missing a major feature, ray traced reflections. You do get ray traced shadows, but all reflections are handled exclusively in screen space. They passed the information off to the development team, however, and hopefully this will be addressed soon via patch, but it's highly disappointing as the look of the game benefits so much from what the high-end implementation of this feature. Otherwise, two versions are comparable in terms of visual quality, which is to say they look excellent. Furthermore, the performance mode is visually equivalent, so if you were planning to enjoy the games at 60 frames per second, you won't have an issue. But if you're hungry for ray tracing, however, PlayStation 5 has an edge on launch day, which, you know what, listen, this is one of the things that we notice lately, right? These developers, they come out with a game, it's better, slightly better, or something missing on one version, then it gets patched, and then, you know, it's sort of like how, you know, in a newspaper publication, you know, they'll accuse somebody of something in big bold print on the front page, and then when it turns out not to be true or something that changes, they'll print a retraction on like the last page 2 weeks later, right, in super small print. So all the PlayStation fans beating their chest right now, you know, they're not going to be seen or going to bring it up when a patch comes out and the Xbox version ends up equal or superior to that.
Well, that's if they make it look superior. I highly doubt it, though, given that the Xbox has had a lot of trouble with ray tracing in the past.
Because, you know, it makes no sense to them, and you know, that it's just going to be one of the things that obviously this kind of thing continues to happen, and we'll probably continue to see this kind of stuff happen. You know, I just for me, you know, I think it's strange that the Xbox version isn't offering the ray trace reflections right now. But honestly, it's just like one of those things that's kind of, I'm shaking my head about it because, you know, like at the end of the day, Microsoft has this beast machine, and it just feels to me like, you know, there's developers aren't putting enough time into getting the ports. Like, this game probably should have been delayed into next year. Now, Xbox Series S doesn't offer a performance or ray tracing option, and its dynamic resolution slightly above 1080p. It's noticeable blurrier as a result, but it's not just the image quality that suffers. Series S also features lower resolution textures evident in most scenes and does not utilize features such as subsurface scattering, which adds so much realism to skin rendering. It's still a nice looking game, but it lacks the fidelity of the more powerful machines. When they get to high performance though, things get interesting. In 60 FPS mode, performance on Series X is roughly equivalent to that of PS5. There are inconsistencies during play in both, but most of the time they're small enough that you won't necessarily fear them, especially with VRR engaged. Given the heavy CPU requirements observed in the PC version, it's not surprising to see the game slip below the targeted frame rate at times, although there are some additional hiccups as well. Now, the quality mode, on the other hand, here, the Series X only exhibited severe frame rate issues during a period that developers' striking distance said would be fixed in a day one patch. The patch does help solve the most egregious drops below 30, thankfully, but it doesn't restore performance parity to the Series X versus the PS5 version. After one of the patches, we were asked to delete our saves to a certain patch took effect, but still no dice. There are still issues here, and which is surprising given the game should theoretically be easier to run, given it doesn't currently include ray trace reflections, but as a result recommend sticking with performance mode if you're playing on a Series X. So how about the Series S? Well, thankfully, given how many visual settings were pared back, the S turns in a solid 30 FPS experience. It exhibits some sort of hiccups observed with some of the other versions, but it does not have any of the same problems as the Series X. Basically, you're sacrificing a lot in terms of image quality and fidelity, but at least the frame rate hits 30 most of the time. He says he would have been curious to see potential performance mode on Series S, however, but given the low resolution target, he suspected it would have been 720p at best. They mentioned the excellent haptic feedback on the PS5 version of the game, and thankfully Xbox users aren't left out. There's rumble triggers, they get heavy use in the game. So far right now, the Xbox version wouldn't be the top choice due to these issues or whatever. But yeah, so like for me, I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm thinking, they're mentioning patches and they're mentioning that kind of stuff. For me, I feel like it's clear-cut case where it seems like because Sony is heavily marketing this game, and Sony, has sent, almost 200 people to work on this game. It just quite obviously is pretty clear that that was the focus for it, and it's like, well, why not wait until you have the game running solid across the board? I don't understand why, they would wait for that.
From what I can see, they got the game working as best they could, and they shipped it that way. I mean, Sony didn't have to work on any optimization. The fact that they were involved had nothing to do with whether or not the game ran well on Xbox or PC. All they did was they worked on the animation, they worked on the cinematics, they worked on the motion capture for the game. They rented out their studio to striking distance, the developer of the game, in order for them to help create it. Now, I know what you're thinking. You think Sony sabotaged the game, or at least they didn't work as hard on the Xbox versions. Look, they did the best they could, okay? Sony's facilities are used for multiple studios for multiple projects. And many of those projects, some of which become multiplat, work just fine on Xbox. So seeing this one little hiccup and saying that, oh, Sony is out to get Xbox, no, crap. That is fucking retarded, and it's laughable that you would even that your brain would even go there. Anyway, he doesn't have a whole lot left to say here, so I'm gonna let him finish.
And honestly, it makes zero sense to me, and I hope that they kind of get out there and get this kind of stuff fixed, because, again, it rubs me the wrong way, knowing that, this is something that could easily be fixed and it should be fixed and running, pretty equal on all three, because it's not like, let's just be real, the PS5 isn't nowhere near on par with the high-end PC or the Xbox Series X. So, to see that it's, that version is running best, why wouldn't you question that, right? And go, oh, okay, well, why is this even a thing? Honestly, why? I would love to know. Nobody can give me an answer, but besides from some bullshit, some story like PS5 better, bruh. PS5 better, bruh. Yeah, PS5 more powerful, bruh. Get out of here. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I certainly do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, CrapGamer 'em up. Thanks for watching. CrapGamer out.
And there you have it. A whiny, angry Xbox fanboy. Absolutely distraught that a game did not run on his supposedly superior Xbox platform. Let's say what it really is, guys. The Xbox platform was built with brute force in mind. It wasn't built with efficiency in mind. The PS5 is an amazing machine built with efficiency specifically in mind. Now, I'm not a technical engineer, so I'm not going to go too far into this, but basically, when you have something that's designed to run faster in all aspects, not just have more horsepower in general, but to have, the bottlenecks removed, I'm pretty sure that contributes heavily to the PlayStation 5's version of the game running far better. But that's just me, and it's time for this video, pardon me guys, it's time for this video to end. And I'm the Rogue Inquisitor. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. This is the first time I actually took some real time to edit this video. Anyway, peace out guys. Have fun. Take care.